Hello again. Here, this is my second try now to start the stream. First was ultra choppy, ultra choppy, like 2 frames a second. I hope it improved now. It will take me some time to see the results on YouTube. But right now there's still no picture. But this could be explained like with a 15 seconds delay. It still looks choppy. Oh, no. Let's wait. Let me see that. This actually looks much better. So far there's still no viewers. I will still cut it off and try to go to a higher encoding setting for I think the quality will be improved, for this looks like shit. Okay, so there's 2 viewers, so I won't go back to change stuff. Mr. Wenzel Strapinski. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, I think I come a long way, and now I will like officially start the stream for day 6. Let me remove all the stuff from the last stream. For the last time I was online, I tried to correct the shape of the helmet. For the angle of the side flaps here was way too low or high, depends on where you set the midpoint. And I used like a lot of glue in here to soften the cardboard, and then to press it into the desired shape. And yeah, so actually this here right now starts to be a real helmet, even if it's made from cardboard. Maybe let me see if you can hear that. Here, this has got some stability. So this is like the nearly final stage of the rough cut for this. And yeah, this is nice. Then just to like to summarize what has happened before. The Vader helmet is in this shape like for the last 2 streaming days, and there clearly, or there definitely needs to be some kind of work on this. If you can see this like right from the front now, maybe I use another. Oh no, it turned off. Why did it turn off? Okay, there's the technical problem with my second camera, which I'm... Oh, wait. Okay, I think it was the power connection. So now I see a preview thing there. So the second camera. And here in this wide angle view, you can clearly see that one eye is much bigger than the other one, and that one cheekbone is actually kind of like lower as it's supposed to be. So today I will finish the proportions on this base helmet here, and finish up on the proportions of the helmet. The special problems with the helmet right now are here. If you watch this, you see that the top is way too flat. This is like not desired. So I will build this up. And then here from the side view, this looks kind of alright, but the helmet needs one flat base, so this will be cut to shape. The eyebrows are too long, and the line that joins the top part and the bottom part of the helmet needs to be blended into the whole sculpt. Then there's a bit of problem with the curvature on the back of the helmet. That shouldn't take too long. Then there's some minor gaps here right at the joining line that I have to fill in. And first fill in the gaps and then like smooth it out a bit. And then there's some very rough shapes. Here you can see it like here, where I just have to add some cardboard to get it to a comparable height, so that there is not like valleys and hills here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to like work on now. But overall, there's definitely a Vader helmet now. So it is like going in a direction that I'm very, very happy with. It still looks rough, and there's some stuff that is like not the way I want it to be for this stage of the build, but everything like has a good foundation right now. So I start to update or to refine this rough state of the helmet now, and I hope that the main issues can be addressed within the next like 2 hours. So now I'm in streaming for 7 minutes. I hope that when the stream reaches 2 hours and 7 minutes, all the basic structural problems will be taken care of. Then maybe I take a break and come back to you, for I'm like extremely excited to finally get to the point where I can split this thing in half. For the ones of you in the know about the Vader helmet, the main helmet actually consists of 3 parts, which is like the helmet that goes on top of it. Then there's the face mask, and then there's a collar piece, collar like a neck piece. And the mask will be split in half along this line. So everything beneath this line will go to the collar piece, and the top part will be the face mask. In the final face mask, there will be no material on the back of the head. For if you watched Empire Strikes Back, there's a scene where Vader is like in his chamber, and an Imperial officer is coming in, and the chamber is just opening. Yeah, it's opening like this, and Vader is sitting inside of here. Wait, where's my where's my small Vader? Here. So I got a little Vader here. He is sitting inside of this chamber, and the helmet is just coming down. And there you can see the back of his head. And then in Return of the Jedi, when Luke tries to pull him into the Imperial shuttle to rescue him from the Death Star to Endor. You see that he's just wearing, after Luke takes off the mask, first the helmet, then the mask, then you can see the collar part of the helmet. When I say color, it sounds like color. Have to work on that. So, and there you can see, once the helmet is taken off, that there's the back of the head shown too. So, first, getting the structure ready to move on. And I will continue with the helmet, and I will search for a position that is not too obstructive to the view. Here, I hope this is good. Here I'm just reading in the chat, so you can't disassemble it now, but this will be possible when it's finished. My thinking was that if I want to have a three-parted model of this, then first, okay, the helmet is obviously a single piece. Then the thing underneath is a single piece, and the collar part and the face mask part are just pieces that you take apart. So it would be smartest, that was my thinking. I will see how it works out. It's the first time that I'm doing a Vader mask, and yeah, this will be probably my most demanding build yet. That I get the base thing, which consists of collar and face mask, that I build it as one thing and just cut it apart when the base thing is like at least structurally and proportionately at the right stage of building it. For then, that's my hope, it will be very easy to continue to work on the two different pieces, and they will still join up perfectly. As opposed to just building this one part and the other part, and all the time while building that, trying to make sure that they are both aligning to each other. So I hope this is the way to go. If not, you will have seen how not to do it. But somehow I think that's the way to go, and that's it. I think that's the right way. So let me put the face mask here, so there's a reminder of what we are building, and I will start to address the problems with the helmet. The first thing is definitely the flat top. This needs to be rounded off, and this stripe here in the middle, I won't care for it right now at all. For I will just glue stuff over it, for I can reapply that later. So now I just try to find the widths of the stuff that I want to attach on top of it, and I am not too picky with the material right now. Mr. Wenzel Skropinski, did that like answer what you were asking? I hope it did, or at least that it clarified some of the stuff that I'm going to do now. I will just start to apply multiple layers here. But the one thing that happened right now, I was pressing on the helmet here, and this bottom piece is like caved in on the pressure. So I will glue this down now, but then I have to improve the stability on the lower side of the helmet for that I don't break stuff that I already built. Well, welcome everybody to the live stream of my Vader built from just cardboard, glue, and some wrapping paper, or some brown bags that you get when you're grocery shopping. This has come a long way since I started the whole live streaming thing here. This is the first build that I actually do as a live stream, and on top of that, this is the first live streaming I've done in my life. So there have been a lot of technical difficulties, which I'm like not sure if all are taken care of by now, but yeah, I learned a whole lot just in the 6 days. Today my internet connection was updated, so I was able to deliver a higher bitrate upstream, but then I discovered that my PC actually, I'm using a PC for streaming, was not really able to re-encode the higher bitrate properly, and that will be something that I have to address before I go online the next time. So going to the chat here, fine, thanks for the explanation when you talked about the scene. I remembered a sort of special cut of it where Vader is being a dick and closes the chamber every time. Yeah, but that was a YouTube cut, or so, which was he is talking about. Wait, I read it out loud. I remember the sort of special cut where Vader is being a dick and closes the chamber every time the other guy is trying to talk to him, which is an actually really funny YouTube clip. Star Wars has been source of very many very nice variations there, but this scene where it's always he just opens his mouth and Vader closes his thing, that was great. It was fun to watch, and that's exactly the scene that I was talking about, where you got the first glimpse of the head underneath Vader's mask, and that was like no. I wanted to have a Vader helmet all the time since I first saw Darth Vader, but that was the first time where you were kind of introduced to the concept of this being more complicated than just a single or like a simple stormtrooper thing, which is just one mask that you put on top of your head. For that, this was a multi-piece piece of thing that, as it seemed in episode 3 or episode 2 or episode 5, formerly known as episode 2, yeah, that it had to do a little bit more to do with Vader than what met the eye in the first movie, which in my counting still is A New Hope. So here I'm just building up some curvature here, not really taking too much care if everything is perfectly aligned, or to avoid any kind of edges or stuff like that. This is just to build up some volume, and once I'm getting like close to the shape that I want to achieve with this, then I start to work a bit like a bit more nitpicky, cleaner. So right now it's just building up structures or structure here, or there's definitely need for more curvature on the top of the helmet. Yeah. Okay. So just before, I'm just rambling on here, for there is no technical stuff I can explain about what I'm doing here, just that I like prepare the pieces that I want to glue on top of this helmet right now, and it helps to just lay down the glue and let it dry for a while. Just before I like hello to every new viewer of this great live stream. Imanaro, the official channel. You got an unofficial channel too, or yeah. Imanaro, is that like a pronunciation that is close enough so you recognize your own name when I say it? Hey, Mr. Wenzel Strapinski, why? Hey, why? Was I gone? Am I back now? Ah, now you're saying hey to Imanaro. Okay, so still new to the whole concept and to this chat thing. I try to react to it as often as I can. Oh, yeah. If you look at the side of the helmet now, I like this curvature here, but it stops kind of abruptly around here. So I want this to smoothen to the top. So I need to build up here, and I need the build up here. And these two curvatures should meet seamlessly, so that it's a very organic look to the whole thing. Yeah. Mr. Strapinski, Wenzel Strapinski. This live streaming and reacting to everything, and trying to watch out for the different cameras that I have to operate. It's still a bit demanding, but I think I'm getting better at it the more I do it, or at least more experienced about it. Better is just left for other people to decide if it's better. I'm not feeling as overwhelmed as I did on the first live stream that I did. I'm still a bit nervous for just the concept of like having people in my room here is different. Definitely different than to being alone here and watching some documentaries or listening to podcasts and stuff like that. And then what happened today, maybe someone that's watching has some insight on that, is that day 4, I think I was streaming like, it was 4 days ago, got like, yeah, you can monetize your stream which means that I'm allowing YouTube to put ads next to the stream and to the subsequent release as a normal video on YouTube. If I wouldn't allow that, then there would be no incentive for YouTube to actually promote it to anyone. So they want to make money, and that's cool with me. So the stream of day 4, which were actually 2 streams, about 2 hours long, got I don't know what you would call it, but YouTube said, okay, you're not allowed to monetize it to everyone, which means that there is some alleged content in there which would be not appropriate for advertisers. And I tried to look at the stream again, and I was actually not able to find any offensive kind of stuff that I did. At least nothing that would be strong enough to, or important enough to like demonetize it. So that was a first for me. It's the first videos of mine that got like banned from monetization, and I hope that they're not expanding this kind of stuff on my channel. For I think I'm doing nothing wrong. I'm just building some stuff here, talking a bit about it. And so, you got any one of the viewers got an idea what might be offensive about the stuff that I'm doing here? For I'm kind of sure that what I'm doing right now is the same thing that I did in the live streams that I've done before. Was really strange to me. There was maybe some kind of music playing in the background. Actually, no. So, thanks for the suggestion. But I'm like really trying to make sure that there's no copyrighted material in here. So I'm not listening to anything. I'm not watching anything. So I think the only thing that could have been something that led the the artificial intelligence decide that there would be some shady stuff going on is that I was smoking a cigarette. Not even on screen, but off screen. I switched the camera, but there was a sound of. So maybe they thought I was doing drugs. I don't know. And that's even a far stretch for. I was like, is flabbergasted a word? I was like, what? What are you talking about? So maybe I very infrequently use some cuss words, but they're not aimed at other people. So if at all, they're aimed at me, for I'm not happy with what I'm doing. Here, by the way, do you see how the curvature starts to get really nice? That is what I hope to achieve here. So I'm trying to follow up on the chat, but you don't know. Have only made YouTube videos in the beginning of YouTube. I think you didn't even have the option to monetize back then. Yeah, the monetization thing is there is some, like, I don't know how far back it was that you did your YouTube videos. I started like 4 years ago, and then they required you to have like, I don't know, some like 100 subscribers, which now went up to, I think, 1,000 to actually be able to monetize. And that's it. So everybody should be able to monetize once they reached 1,000 subscribers, which for me it was easier back in the day, but still I think I got like 1,400 subscribers now. I'm still like the small of the small. And here to follow up on the live chat, there's hail VAI, if that was the reason. Like was my kind of paranoid brain, not really paranoid, but just with me watching it, I wasn't able to find like anything that's just remotely offensive. And the main problem is that YouTube definitely has no interest to promote videos where they can put advertising on, or so they won't make money if they promote a video that they like struck as an offending kind of video. And the only way to appeal and to say, I think your AI got something wrong, is if your video had at least 1,000 views within the last 7 days. So this means I will never be able to appeal to that decision from YouTube for, I think, my most successful video, and like by far had 1,000 views in a month. So 1,000 views in a 30 days period. And these live streaming videos here are far, far, far from being YouTube hits. So, but I still think to people that are interested in this kind of stuff that it's nice to see the whole process and hear me talk about the problems that I have with building it and trying to offer solutions, and that there's like a direct possibility of communication. So this is definitely not for the views, but still I hope that YouTube at least shows some subscribers that I'm doing this live stream stuff. And if a subscriber has not actually clicked on the bell icon next to the subscribe button, they won't even get a notification. Or the thing is, they can get a notification, but YouTube chooses just a certain percentage of your subscribers to target with an update that would regard a live stream. So only way if you want to be able to hear about that I'm actually going on a live stream or that there's a new video would be to click this bell icon here. So it's all very foreign to me. I just like the process of building it, and to show that it's actually just work here, and everything you see me doing here is not the result of me being more talented or whatever than the next guy or than you or whatever. It's just that I try to do it frequently, and once you do stuff frequently, you will definitely get better at it. And I will just try to help, or I try to help people that the gap between starting to do some sculptures and to getting where you want to be with your physical ability to do it, that this gap shortens a bit. For I just talk about my experience with it. And so, here I think you can see that this, oops, there's some stuff is coming loose, that the curvature now blends way more smoothly from the back side to the front side. Here it's all rough, but if you like, how you call it, squeeze your eyes, you can see where it's getting to. And when you're watching it from the front, here, this flat thing is not as prominent anymore. So you just need to add some stripes to the left and the right, and then I think I got the main problem under control. So then I will strengthen the side flaps of the helmet. For right now, it's like there is not enough strength to them, and I don't want to kill them by pressing the helmet down all the time when I try to apply a new piece of cardboard. So this will be the last two that I'm gluing to the top, and then I will strengthen the bottom part of it, and that would give me the opportunity, or then I am presented with the opportunity to make the final adjustments to the overall shape of the helmet. For right now, there's still a problem with the curvature here, and that this eyebrow stuff is way too long, and that the like the nose guard comes up too prominent. This should be like here. So, but that's what I will address once I got around to the point that this stuff here is not folding away anymore when I apply pressure from the top. So here, now I'm just gluing in a part to give this curvature more of a smooth continuity. Smooth continuity. There is no TH in the beginning of that word. Okay, I applied too much glue to this one. If I use too much glue, it is hard to have the over-glued piece of cardboard to settle in one place. It always wants to like move to the left and the right. So I will watch this in the monitor if this is at the right place, and it is. Now, okay, I'm getting a dry mouth here. I needs to intake some fluids. Okay, so let me finish this, or not finish, more like repair this lower section here. And here there's still a strip of cardboard laying around, so I will just glue it down here, and that should be more than enough to give me the possibility to actually rest the helmet on its lower edges. Hello to everyone that joined into the live cardboarding experience presented by MudbrainsTV Do It Yourself and my person Dieter Beck, which is a name that is considered to be funny in Germany. Is anyone watching from Germany? Maybe they can attest to the fact that Dieter actually is a name that people are laughing about. And there were some people that were actually doubting me being truthful when I told them that that is my name. They thought I was bullshitting them. For the perception is that you have to be even older than me to have this name. So, thanks for watching. If there are any things you want to know, cardboarding wise or personal or channel wise or whatever, random stuff, just try to engage with the live chat and I will answer all your stuff. And this is still a very fortunate situation for people that actually want to know something, that this is not overrun by people here. So I'm able to answer everything that is brought forward to me. Here from the chat, sure, but people laugh about the name Dieter? Question mark. The only thing I can see is yet that normally older people are called Dieter, but that is it. Yeah, and that's the main thing there. For when I was in school, there were like a lot of people making fun of that name or trying to make fun of it, and these the fact that just older people had that name, that's enough for some people. And then why ever some people thought of me as being not German, for just the hair is a bit darker. So that's maybe for their preconception of me was that I would have a completely different name, like from a different place of the earth. And then I have a German name. So for Dieter is a very German name, or like a very like ancient German name, that they were like to be nice to them, surprised when they heard that that was my name. Hi Felix. Felix, it's a nice name. So have people made fun of your name? Like, I mean, Felix, what is it? No, Felix the cat. is like the only thing that like jumps to mind for me, and that's nothing to try to be mean to someone by. Where are you from, Felix? So these two bottom edges. Okay. I am not sponsored by this company in no way, shape, or form. Even though I'm an affiliate partner, and I could post links to some stuff like my materials and so on, that which would give me money if you would use them. But I'm like this affiliate partner thing for over a year now, and I never posted a single link using that. I'm not really after the money. And I'm just using this cardboard for its really, really good cardboard. So especially the one, the things. Hey, Cookie Communist! Einen schönen guten Abend. Hi there. Hey, there's that's the nice feeling of meeting people you already know when you see names on the live chat that have been there before. Hi, hope you have a nice evening. Have you seen how much this has improved? But you've been there the last time too. Felix the rabbit, but no. Made fun of other things, but that's just kids. Yeah, kids are mean sometimes, but that's just the way it is. It's as parents, or as a parent, my job was to prepare my son to the world and to kids that would be mean and stuff, and try to strengthen him in that way, or in a way that he wouldn't take it personal. That it's just okay, man, that's people talking. So that this would not influence him in a way that he tries to change himself drastically or stuff like that. Fan base is forming. Yeah, that would be interesting to see. But thanks for returning. And as you say, just I'm very open to suggestions that could actually make it happen. For I want more people to be aware of the fact that you can do stuff with cardboard, or that you can build stuff from stuff that you haven't actually paid money for. So for a lot of this do-it-yourself stuff just requires you to make a huge investment into materials and tools and everything, and in the end you don't really know if you want to do it, or if you just even if you just try it, you have to spend a whole lot of money on it, and if you would decide to do more with it, then you rely on getting more of the basic materials from them. So, and I think building stuff for yourself is it's great. I really love to look at the stuff that I finished, and I'm really happy when I see it, and actually that I really put in the time to do it. Yeah. Spread the word. So your next project will be a fully functional PlayStation 4 made from cardboard. I very much doubt that, but if you've watched in the channel, so I mean, okay, I have a PlayStation 4, but I just bought that like kind of recently, like end of last year. But I built some stuff for the Xbox One, which my son is using right now, from cardboard, actually, to be able to put your controllers in a thing that you could like hang everywhere, or to a cardboard privacy cover for this Kinect thing, which is not supported anymore. So I'm trying to use the cardboard not just for models like this, but also for very practical reasons. It's a nice material. Yes, and the PS2. That's just so PS2s. Here in the chat. Wait. I actually. There, he's has been talking about this PS2, which I custom built. Here, I think you can see the here what it is, and that's just what I'm trying to push in that way, that you don't always have to buy like the newest stuff just to have something that is cool or that you like. Here, the reason that I built that PS2 was that I wasn't able to get this PS4 in the PS1 look. And me personally, I bought a PS1 like back in the day. A console was first released in Japan, then it was released in the US, some like 6 to 12 months later, and then it took another 4 to 5 months before it came to Europe. And I wanted to have a PS1, so I bought an imported American PS1. And to be able to afford that, I worked 2 months double shifts just to have the additional money to be able to buy it. And I bought it with Ridge Racer and Battle Arena Toshinden. So I have a real soft spot for the PS1. So then was his 20th anniversary edition of the PS4. I wasn't able to get one, but I really liked the look of it. So I decided to just build something for myself that gives me this happy nostalgia feeling, and that happy nostalgia feeling gets to me when I watch when I look at this here. And yes, that PS4, the anniversary edition, is like ultra expensive now, but it was very limited when it came out, and you had to be able to pre-order it and stuff like that. That was just way too hard to get. My saying is just I get the same enjoyment out of having it done for myself as and even more as if I would have had the PS4 thing that is so expensive now. And if I would have gotten a PS4 in that special colorway, then I maybe would have thought about just taking it out and, well, oh, this is such a collector's item and stuff like that. No, too much things going on in my head if some is that expensive, and not enough of this nostalgia thing going on for me there. And for me, that 20th anniversary thing, that 20th anniversary edition was really about my nostalgia for like a kickback to the time when I bought my first PS1, which I worked very hard for and had a lot of fun with. I loved Ridge Racer. So, and it's funny, like I played it actually 2 months ago. I was fortunate enough to get a very cheap Neo G-Con. I don't know if you know that controller, but maybe I can, if anybody wants to see it, I can get it up from my shelf. It's a controller that you can twist, like an analog thing to twist, and this twisting actually made the car turn like a steering wheel. So, but this motion was done with this motion, and I got that cheap. I always wanted to have it when it came out, but it was too expensive and stuff like that. And I played Ridge Racer again with that, and I was able to not really beat the game, but to play through the whole game within 2 hours of me having not played it for month. Not month, that's stupid. For years, for maybe 10 years plus, even more. So, and there was such a great feeling to go back to the PS1. That's, yeah, it's bizarre. And when I first turned it on after 20 years, the graphics looked really shitty. But it's amazing how fast your brain adjusts to what it's looking at, and to just watch the gameplay. And yeah, the gameplay didn't change. So, okay, yeah, I will put that away. But here, I love my 20th anniversary PlayStation 2 that reminds, or that is reminiscent of the PlayStation 4 that came out, blah, blah, blah. I remember when me and my brother got our PSX. A friend of my father was at our home and brought his PS1, and we were totally mesmerized. So our parents got us one for Christmas. Had such a good time with it. I can imagine. It's so, especially if you had a brother and you were, or if you had, what is brother, sister, but what do you call the two of them? They are your, in German it's Geschwister, not siblings, that's, nah. Yeah, so I don't know the word. And if you were on good terms with them, that's great. I had a lot of, well, I have a lot of really great memories of playing a Mortal Kombat with my brothers on the Super Nintendo. And then Halo on the Xbox One. On Xbox One, Halo was like, we had 2 consoles, so we brought them to one place. And then we were playing 2-on-2 deathmatch locally, so we could hear each other screaming. That was so much fun. So I still have all the old consoles, and I still love to meet up with people and play some of this older stuff. So the helmet is now getting to a point where it can actually address this eyebrow situation, where they're coming out way too much. Here, can you see that? I can like show you this here. It is coming out too, but here it is way too much on my helmet, for this is blocking too much of the eyes here. So they shouldn't be totally blocked. Wait. This here. It's hard to pick up on this black thing. Maybe it's, wait, I think it's easier on this gray thing. Here, the top part of the helmet should be roughly aligned with the upper part of the hole for the eye, for like this eyebrow or eyelid thing. So when I compare that to my helmet, so now here it is that the eyes are like totally receded within the helmet. So this is way too much. So, and that draws too much attention to the top of the helmet and not enough attention to this snout thing here that Vader's got going on with his two triangles. So that will be something that I address now. Here just looking at the chat. Weren't allowed to play Mortal Kombat, but got Tekken 3 until now all-time favorite fighting game. How old have you been, or how old were you when they like did not allow you to play Mortal Kombat? So I think so. I was very old when I got my first consoles. All the time when I was living at home, I left home. That sounds too dramatic. I moved out when I was 17, and then the first console that I bought for myself actually was a Super Nintendo when I was 18, I think, and that was also US import. Well, I was working on the weekends, and actually I was not sweeping the streets with a broom. Like in a factory, I was with a friend of mine cleaning up their parking space, and I did shift work, or however you would call it. So when I started at night at 11 o'clock, and then I worked till 7 in the morning, and then I went to school to get the money for the Super Nintendo. So it was very late for me when I got in there. Okay, and when you were 7 or 8 years old, I think it's an okay decision from your parents to like limit your access to Mortal Kombat. And then you were kind of fortunate that they allowed you to play Tekken. So they must have had a lot of trust in you and your brother that you would not try that on each other. That's cool. There's a lot of memories with this console stuff. For me, my two brothers are, one is 5 years younger, the other is 6.5 years younger, and that means they were like 13, 14, something like that, when we were playing Mortal Kombat. And so for them, yeah, I don't know if they actually showed my mother what they were playing, but yeah, there was not this official license of approval of that. But times changed, and so did the rating for the games. And right now, when you play Mortal Kombat, it's bizarre that it was actually mentioned in US Congress. So, but they were wrong, of course. Since we were brothers, we tried similar things on each other. That's just the thing how it is with your brothers and sisters. You're doing dumb stuff to each other, which most of the time you regret when you're older. My sister, for example, when I was young, she was a nightmare, and now she's one of the dearest persons on planet fucking Earth. Oh shit, I said something that might get this episode demonetized. Demonetized. Okay, I will now cut these eyebrows and actually cut the side parts of the helmet here. If you watch this here, these, oh no, that's not aligned properly. I think, yeah, it's more something like this. Here, this part goes way beyond the eyelid. And here, in my current Vader build, here, if you watch it from the side, the eyelid is completely covered, which takes away from the whole inside of the mask. So I will like sketch the rough shape that I want to cut away onto it now, and try to take it one step at a time. Now, what is really helpful if you want to have a symmetry between two parts of a model is to just get yourself something that you can put to both sides of it, where your eyes are deceiving you. So I take this, so I know the rough dimension here, and just mark it down. And this way I know that it's like roughly the same on both sides. And this looks, can you see that? Here it looks much better if it's not coming up this much. And now I don't really know how far back I have to cut it to get to the point that I wanted to. So I'm just taking the easy route and just mark this down. So I just cut it down here, and then I can adjust this angle. So not to cut away too much too soon. And now to measure one side to the other. It is actually really helpful. Maybe you can see it better if I'm providing you with the bigger camera. Here to have this kind of a cutting mat. For here, there's a grid on here, and I know that my fingers here on both sides of the helmet are now at the same height. And I see here that this part, this is this lower thing, and here this lower thing are roughly at the same position. So I can take my measurement from the cutting mat. So that helps me to determine that both sides are roughly on the same Same height and width. Now I try to get rid of this, and I try to do it with a cardboard cutter. And with using a lot of back and forth motion, I try to put as little stress to the cardboard as possible. What I can benefit from is if I use the scissors and just get close to where I want to cut it for this way, and here you will see it shortly. I can actually get rid of some of the pieces and realign the knife for a better cut to the next piece. And I see my cut, and I can turn the knife more freely, as to opposed if it's in between of cardboard. I cannot really turn it, and so it's very hard for me to change the angle. So here I'm seeing that my line is way back here, but I can just approach it in smaller increments, so I don't kill what I so carefully tried to build until now. I hope you can see it when I sit down. Always get your fingers out of the way when you use a cardboard knife. Well, I've had some really deep cuts with it. And just with pushing and pulling, work your way forward. And for me here, pulling is the better direction. So now you can see here the trimmed side as opposed to the untrimmed side. So, and now we can compare that to the helmet, or with the helmet inside, and already you can see that there's a better visibility towards the eye, and even that from this perspective here you can kind of see the eyelid there, or the lower part of the eyelid, which is still like completely covered on the other side. So I think this is the way to go. Well, now I will do the same thing that I did on the other side. I first pre-cut the piece of cardboard that I want to cut away, and then I will try to work myself through it with a cardboard knife. And here, when you're not sure how much you want to cut away from stuff, always try to stay on the side of cutting away too little and not too much. For cutting away more is easy, reapplying stuff is just more work. Here, so for me to get my first better placement of the knife, I'm just working with like small repeated cuts to the cardboard that I want to get rid of. And here it's like you can see that it's easy for me to turn the knife, for the cardboard on this side is just not very strong. Oops. It's just single layered at this part. So, and now here I'm at a position where it's hard for me to like turn the knife. So I'm trying to get to the position of that cut and just remove some cardboard so it is easier for me to get to where I want to. Here, and this is actually some stuff where scissor is way, or where scissor is the right tool. Okay. Yeah, I try to angle it for the top camera. Here, the edge of the eye starts to be visible. Edge of the eye starts to be visible, roughly. But now, what you see here is that the angle of the helmet that I have, or that I've built now, is it both visible at once? Yeah, that mine is going straight down and it has to move back like this. And this has to be one continuous curved cut. So I try to figure out where it has to end up, and it looks like the cut should be a bit behind the eyebrow, the lower eyelid. I can use this camera here. Here, the cut has to be behind the eyelid, and here some like 2/3, 1/3, so it will go like that. And while I'm painting or drawing onto this gray mask, here Mr. Wenzel-Strupinski, Felix, was asking where I got that from. Actually, this thing was, I don't know if you know the brand, but this is D'Agostini. They're selling like, here, this is a collection of all James Bond cars. And then the first one is really cheap, and the subsequent ones are really expensive. And then there's like 36 models in there. And in the end, you pay $400 or $500 to get it. But to get you into buying all the stuff, the first one is really cheap. And here, this Vader mask was the first item from their Star Wars masks or helmets kind of thing. And here, this was, wait, there's still this camera active. Here, this one was the first mask on there, and it was I think 3 or 4 euros, so kind of cheap for what it is. And I just took the black one out of its housing. This is the one that I gave to my son, and spray painted it gray. For this gray stuff just shows up better on camera, so it's easier to see all the little details that are on there. And here in this black one, you see there's like, you just see some white reflections, but you can't really make out the different details. So in painting it gray, it greatly helped to be able to see the form of stuff. And that's actually the same thing you would do when you're modeling something, or in clay or super sculpty or in whatever. You want to get it to a uniform. So once you are beyond the rough stage of the build, you want to paint it in something that is first up a uniform color that is not white or black. So usually it's some kind of gray that is non-reflective. So this gives you the best possibility, or the best way to judge the surface. Okay, here, just look at the front and back side, and just this removal of this bit of this eyebrow thing really helped push the shape of this top helmet thing into the right direction. Now I just have to get rid of the sides here. So, and I compare it to flip. I put it on here, and there needs to be more of the and I think that's like roughly what I have to take away or cut off. I will use a black pen, then it's easier for you to see here, and I try to have it be one continuous curvature that goes into a straight line. So I just to look at it, I think that's nice, and actually it's a good thing if there's a here, if you can see a bit of this build here. For I really like this detail on the side of the mask, which for sure will be a cylindrical form that comes here, and especially for it will be here, cut here, and then there's this big screw in the front. I like it when you can see that. So, and now for me with the helmet, I don't really need it to be movie perfect. I don't. Yeah, I have no interest in building a perfect replica in cardboard, but I want to build something and then have something that strongly reminds me of the character. So there always will be some of my very subjective things going on with it. And that's, for example, I built the Terminator arm, and I didn't want it to be life-sized. I'm not a very small person. I'm 6'4". Yeah, 6'4". And Schwarzenegger is definitely smaller than me. And so if I would have built the Terminator arm to scale, then I would have needed here the measurements of Arnold Schwarzenegger's forearm, and that would have been way smaller than mine. And to me, the Terminator needs to be bigger than me. So definitely bigger than me. So I built it larger than my hand. For when I look at it, I wanted it to be a Terminator arm, and not just this piece that Mr. Schwarzenegger was wearing on set, if you know what I mean. So I built it for me, and that's my whole criteria, and I'm not trying to replicate everything perfectly. Even though I can be quite anal about some details. For my younger self might have picked up exactly that detail and might have been obsessing over it. Yeah, most bodybuilders are short. Yeah, it's and they still look short. The thing is, even the giant bodybuilders, and there's some bodybuilders that are like 6'6" and plus, if you watch them, and just on a picture without reference, they always look kind of short. They are very wide, and so you expect them to be short. The thing is that it's much easier for a shorter guy to look very muscular as opposed to a very big guy. For the shorter guy just needs to put on something like, I don't know, if he got like a normal physique that is like kind of athletic, and he puts on 30 kilograms, then a person that is just 1.60 meters tall looks like Hulk. But if the same person that's let's say 2 meters tall puts on 30 kilos, he still looks in a kind of way where his grandmother would say, come on, eat a little bit more, you look so thin, you look so thin. And that's yeah, the thing with bodybuilding. It's the same thing with those athletes, how you call it, that are here on this ring thing. They're always very short. For you got a better power transmission to shorter limbs. So I got a very long arm span and kind of big hands, and I think for a guy my size, it's very hard to do this cross-hanging thing. And everybody you ever see do that, or not everybody, I'm sure there's somebody out there that can do it, even while being big. It's just not the right body configuration for certain kinds of stuff. Yep. So what it comes down to is just muscle mass. Muscle mass. That's funny. Muscle mass. And for actors, so with a camera you can make people appear shorter or larger. And even if they're standing next to each other, then you just take a wider focal plane and have one move more to the camera. As long as you don't show both feet, there's not a problem. That was actually a thing. My mother was a huge Humphrey Bogart fan, and she liked Casablanca a whole lot. And since she was a little girl, she had like this girl crush on him. This, right? I have just to measure it. And there are 3. I don't want to use the wrong line here, so somewhere like here. And she had some like a crush on him. And then my mother, my sister, and me, we were in London, and we went to Madame Tussauds, to this wax figure thing. And there was a sculpture or a wax figure of Humphrey Bogart, and my mother was standing next to him, and he just was the heights up to her chin, and just this disappointed kind of look that my mother had when she saw him, when she was not able to believe that this like dream of her youth was just that small. That was unforgettable. So a lot of actors are kind of small. What? Hard to do chin-ups with long hands. Yeah, chin-ups are. I'm not really weak physically, but I weigh over 100 kilos, and chin-ups are extremely hard for me. It's unbelievable. So I can bench press a good amount of stuff or of weight. So I always try to be able to bench press my body weight, and then I was quite comfortable. But to chin up my body weight, no, I can't do it. I can do like 2, and that's it. And right now, my son, he's 18 years old, and he's just destroying me and stuff like that. He's just, he's doing chin-ups on the frame of the doors. And there you have just this much to hold on to. And he's doing that just to mock me. And like, hey, you are old. You're old. That's fun. Looking back at the chat, Hercules in New York was some French Schwarzenegger's first leading part, and he looked ridiculous in his suit. Now, I actually watched that movie, and it is incredibly bad. But that actually made it kind of fun to watch. What was hard to imagine for me is that after he did that movie, he was able to push his career further. So that's cool. It's, yeah, America, land of infinite possibilities. And then to become the governor. So it's interesting. Actually, I really don't like him as a person. I think from the political statements that I heard from him, even though I can understand why he talks the way he talks. But I got a whole lot of movies that I really love where Arnold Schwarzenegger is in, and sometimes it's hard, but I try to separate the fictitious characters he played from his person. That's the same thing with Stallone. It's he's just they're all, I don't know why, just way too conservative for me. And yeah, that's like difficult in Europe. So conservatism was not stuff that I embraced as much as it seemed. But no, don't let me get into that. Look at this great improvement that just came from cutting this sides to a better shape. So what happened now is that this thing here in the back is much too sloped. This beam needs to be much more angular. This needs to be much more angular, and that's what I will try now. And even if it might be too short after that, I can still elongate that edge. But I want to get the proportions kind of right. And then, no question, there are a lot of great movies from these guys. Schwarzenegger is in. Let me just think. I love Predator. Predator is amazing, and it was a real surprise. And I think he's like the perfect guy for for that role. Amazing, amazing. Then Terminator 1, love it. 2, love it. 3, 4, 5, okay. So they will never make my top 10. And then a movie that's really highly regarded by me is... I have to make sure that I get this here kind of right. That is really always in my top 50 movies of all time or stuff. Wait, I think I have to get it. I'm back in a second. I'm just too stupid to find what I'm looking for here. I will be back. I will be back. Please don't everyone leave. Please stay. If you can hear me screaming from here. Well, I don't want to give away the sides. Okay, Terminator. Definitely great movie. So I didn't pick Terminator 1 for that is redundant. Then Predator. I love it. I love Predator. I haven't built anything from Predator yet. yeah, I streamed I'll Be Back. And the what? No, not really funny, but my surname. So my last name is Beck, but with an E, not an A. So, yeah, I'll be back. That's like not too funny. So here, Predator, great movie. Then just for the fun of it, Phantom Commando. I loved it when I was younger. And so, what do you think? I just have to make sure that it's not shown up anywhere. Which is the movie behind it? Which is my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movie of all time? Maybe you can figure that out while I try to mark the cutting line for the helmet. Any suggestions for the best Schwarzenegger movie? Come on, someone, please. I mean, I will show it, but... And here, just what I'm doing, with the helmet on the mask. Here I have elevated my pencil to a height where I want to cut it, and this way I can move the pencil on top of this and just rotate the mask, and I know that I will have the right height for it. This way, I know that if the mask is on the head of someone, that this edge will be parallel to the ground. And I think that's important for the Vader mask. For this downward sloping from here on, it just looks kind of, I don't know, kind of weak. No, the problem is that the movie that I'm thinking about, or that is behind this one, is like, it's a great movie, and not because of Schwarzenegger. So it's not made great because Schwarzenegger is in it, but it's a great movie. And just to give you a tip, it was remade in the last 6 years. So maybe that will help you. That will like rule out Conan and Kindergarten Cop. Even though Kindergarten Cop was kind of funny for this being split in 2 parts. First being this detective guy and then being the Kindergärtner. That was kind of cool. A bit like From Dusk Till Dawn, where first it's a gangster movie and then it's a horror movie. So I like this approach. And like Predator, first it's a war movie and then it's a creature movie. Come on, please figure out my movie. I will wait, given a suggestion. The director of that movie also made 2 other sci-fi movies that are just incredible. So it's a sci-fi movie. That's hopefully something you can work with. And I definitely want to build something from that Schwarzenegger movie, but I'm like not sure what prop to pick from it. Okay, there's now this here is wait. Yeah, this will just be standing there. The problem with this helmet right now is that this doesn't look good. I'm not completely sure why, but I kind of think that here, this back part of the helmet okay, his wiki should help. So, European director for the movie. And I hope you have seen it. But it's strange if you ask people about Schwarzenegger movies, it's like not the typical Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Few people remember that as a Schwarzenegger movie, and then they're, oh my god, yeah. Sci-fi. He has not done too much sci-fi. Here, I think I have to extend the back part of the helmet. Oops. If you look at the proportions for the helmet here, and then it is the width here, or the length of this, is also the length here. And I think the angle on the back just has to be a bit steeper, and I have to start it a bit higher. So I will just sketch that down here. I think this will be the solution for that problem. So if I start this outward going ridge here, yeah. And Mr. Wenzel-Strupinski, at least you knew before I read it that that's the movie I was talking about. So kudos to both of you. Total Recall, and especially in this red covered version, which is the uncut version, which was harder to get for time in Germany. For the cinema cut was like butchered, but I wasn't aware of that while I was watching it. And just when I first saw this red version, it was, oh my god, that was unbelievable. And wait a moment, I'll be back. Then. Wait, I just. Whoop. The three-titted prostitute, okay? I think you are a bit younger compared to me I mean, yeah, I remember the three-titted prostitute. For me, what was very memorable was the guy that drove him around, like not too big black guy that was kind of skinny. And when they wanted to get to Cohigan, he just pulls off his hand and comes out with his like arm from his forearm, and I am a mutant too. So that was then like burned into my brain. And that was not a scene that was cut. The scenes that were cut were like a lot of stuff. So I love this movie. And now just if that is of interesting to you, what here, same director, and now 2 more movies from him, which form my sci-fi greats of all time. And they were always so violence cut in Germany that it was such a relief when they got how you call it? In Germany, there's an organization that says, okay, here, this movie is 18 years, this is 16, blah, blah, blah. This ESRB thing. But ESRB is on a, not government-based in America, but here in German, this FSK, Freiwillige Selbstkontrolle, is a government thing, and they were not allowed to bring out the versions for the uncut versions. It was hard to get them, and now the films got re-reviewed, and now the sometimes the version that you can is now for 16 years for people that are 16 years old is the uncut version, which was not even available to people that were 18 years old back then. And yeah. So I don't know if you can see it. This is I love these 3 movies. They are, whoa, really still, and they held up so well through the test of time. There, it is. I love them. I love them. And still, in Germany, there's still no uncut Starship Troopers version, so I had to buy the Italian one. I love it. And 2 of these 3 movies got remade in the last 6 years, and both remakes were like unnecessary. Unnecessary. They should have done the movies under a different name, but not under RoboCop and Total Recall. It was, yeah, that was embarrassing. Okay, here, the helmet. I just drew this line to kind of make me remember that I want to pull down the side visor a bit more, blah, blah, blah. But now I will get into the mask to get the rough shape right. For now, it's like putting both parts on top of each other and all the time just looking for what works and what doesn't work. And yeah, to do too much work on the helmet right now could like be counterproductive when it comes to the mask, and vice versa. So I'm going to fix the biggest problems here first, and then I try to match both pieces together, if that makes sense. I hope so. Here, just if anyone wants to write something in the chat, here, just from these 3 movies, I've built nothing from any of them. For RoboCop, oh no, here wait, here's my list of stuff that I want to do next. And for Total Recall, I got the cap driver head. For I don't know, I really like this character and all its innocence, and then how he gets ripped out and thrown away. So there was one idea for Total Recall that I want to do, and for RoboCop, it's RoboCop's gun. But do you guys have any idea for either of these movies? Maybe for another prop from that from these 2 movies, and especially you got if you got any kind of idea for Starship Troopers. I don't know, the mechanical hand of the sergeant. So it has to be gross a bit. So I don't know. The mini nuke that he fires at the bug. Okay. Here, I think I will remove them before I get a copyright strike for showing off material that I got no license to. The problem with the helmet here, and I think you can see that. Cardboard tits. Okay, as I said before, I have a strike for my Vader movie, Day 4, which I actually really don't know what it's about. So why? I figured it might be that I smoked a cigarette and it looks like a joint, maybe, even though it's just a cigarette that I rolled by hand, or it's the sound when I was smoking it that they thought it was weed. I don't know. It's an automated process. I don't know why they struck me. If I start to build cardboarded tits, damn, I will be struck by YouTube, even though it would be funny. Maybe I should do that on something like a Maker Faire as a live build there, which I wouldn't upload to YouTube or stuff. It would be funny that, hey, you like this? Okay, problem with the helmet right now. Here, this eyebrow, yeah, repercussions will be sure, swift, and immediate. This eyebrow is way higher. No, here. This eyebrow is higher than this eyebrow, and this cheek is lower than this cheek. So I think I will lift this cheek up. No, it's hard to watch the monitor where it's a mirrored image. I will lift this cheek up to get it to the level of the other side, and then I will try to find a middle ground between these two, and that should help the overall view or the look. So, and to make it less cartoonish. Right now it looks like I don't know, Tiny Toons, stuff like that, or Lego Star Wars. So it's not Vader enough. So I start to bring down the eyebrow on this side. And for this, I try to sketch in the height that I want to have. For sometimes it's really hard to view what you got. I will also measure the length of the inside of the eye on the one side, and then compare that to the other side. Okay, so here the length is, this is like nearly a centimeter more, really edge to edge. Yeah. So as you might be able to see here, this is a line that I had drawn previously, and I should have stuck to that, then it would have been more accurate. Now, does the head fit in from? Does your head fit in from the neck? No, right now it would be impossible for me to get into this helmet. But in the first episode, so the first day of streaming, I was like showing how I tried to model everything towards my head size. And once I cut this apart and then open this part, I should be able to first fix the color around my neck, the neck piece around my neck, and then from this thing here, the back will be cut out, so I can fix that from the fit that from the front side. Then I have to build a mechanism to hold both sides together, and then the helmet will be applied. And that is actually how it was done in the movies. Here I've shown this before. Maybe here. Wait, I try to get the reflections away. Here in this picture, you can see. Here, there's where the front part and the back part of the color piece, neck piece, are put together, and they have some kind of mechanism to hold them together, and that's something that I have to duplicate. But the original piece was a 1, 2, and then helmet, a 3-part piece. So this should fit my head, even though I just want to have the possibility to wear it. Yeah, it's just this childhood thing of being able to wear a Vader helmet. And then make this sound. And when I have finished this thing, I will have to film a intro to the cardboarding Vader episode where I'm going like full geek with everything that I built for it. That is important. So now to get this in here, there's that's still a lot of space that I have to cover. I think I will use the hot glue gun again, as I did in the beginning of the build process. Here, the hot glue gun is like very good for very broad changes that you have to perform. So here the lower part will be cardboard only, but to the upper part here for the upper part of the brow, it will be much easier to just hot glue in some pieces and then kind of hide them. Okay, so as you can see here, here in the middle of the mask, the end of the cheekbone is kind of on the same level as on the opposing side, and here it's just dropping down. So I will start to fill it up with cardboard from the outside to the inside, and just to mark that down. Yeah, I just like duplicate the curves to another piece of cardboard and then put it on here, or glue it on here. Wait, it was supposed to be like this. And I do this while I wait for the hot glue to get hot. And here I don't need to take too much care here. So the only thing that is important, or not really important, but just beneficial, if you try to not have a too small, that the cardboard that you're gluing in here is not too small. For everything that's like protruding, or here that stands over this edge, can be easily cut away with the cardboard knife. So just, yeah, don't undershoot, overshoot. Stupid. Now I will continue this, but the pieces that I will use will not be as long as the piece below, but just a bit shorter. This way I can like level out this the surface that I want to build here, and then it will look much more like the other side. Yep. So once again I like press it down, mark it down, and cut it and put it in there. Here, when I add a bit of curvature here, that really helps to push it into the or to the eyeball structure there, or to his integrated sunglasses. Okay, and even now this is just 2 pieces of cardboard. If you watch it from the front, here you can see that these 2 sides start to be on the same height. Here I will then smear cardboard into here and press that down so that, when I'm talking about it, why don't I do it? Here, when I push the cardboard to the inner structure of it and let it dry there, not dry there, but let it like soften this cardboard, let it really soak into the paper, then it is much easier for me to push it down the way I want to have it. I think it would be beneficial if this would be a bit longer. So I'm taking some other cardboard here. I will glue this stripe into here, and I want it to stand out a bit, or be a bit higher than I actually needed to, and then try to cut it all the way with the cardboard cutter, as opposed to trying to perfectly meet the heights, and then I have to smear in all the hot glue there. That would be a painful process that I try to circumvent by just using a bigger piece in the from the get-go, from the start. Here, if the knife is out too long, your cut will get very unstable. So pre-soften the cardboard, look for the shape. Then I see that I need a lot of curvature here. And I want it to move all the way to the front. And this is something that was difficult for me in the beginning, just to get the right feeling for some surface curvatures. So right now I'm kind of fast with cutting away some stuff from the cardboard and ending up with a shape or a cut that neatly aligns to the surface. That was a difficult process, or not really difficult, it's something you have to just do repeatedly, and then it becomes quite easy. Okay, I will start this at the here in the lower part, and once the one side is dried, then I will move to the next for just getting everything to line up at once is really hard sometimes. So just work your way forward step by step. Here, as you saw there, try to jump up on me, and there I see a little reason for that. Here, so just wait for it. Wait for the glue to dry, and just after that proceed to the second half. For right now, because this is in place, when I glue in the second half, I don't have to be like very quick that the hot glue does not set. So I can just wait. Then with all the time in the world, put down the glue here and have me just worry about this one part of this arc, which I have to glue down. So it's always, or not always, a lot of the times it's helpful to break up a single step that you want to do into different parts. Oh, this is the last hot glue from this stick, but I don't think that I need more. Okay, so while holding this down, I try to get it to the same curvature as I have on the other side. So there's just a little piece missing down here, so I just try to push whatever I got into there, but the glue is the hot glue is already cold. Okay, so I still pressed that in here, and with hot glue there's a direct correlation between the amount of glue you put in there and the time it takes for it to cool down. If you want to glue or have it to stick immediately, just do a very small strip of glue and directly press it onto there. It will stick, but if you just use a little bit of glue, then it will get cold very fast. So you won't have the possibility of adjustment and stuff. The more glue you put in there, the longer it stays hot, and the easier it is to adjust the whole thing. And I am used to working with this wood glue thing. I'm kind of used to just looking at it, adjusting it a bit, adjusting, so it's more a sculpting kind of thing. So I tend to use more glue than as I need, for the benefit of having more time to adjust all the pieces. Nice. I will cut those pieces away now and hope that it got me closer to a good looking front side of Vader. So if I compare that now, there's definitely an improvement here. This still needs to be brought down here, but as I mentioned, I put that in there to soften the cardboard, And now, as you can see, I'm able to glue down all the interior pieces of the cardboard to itself, and in this way get to a much better surface kind of thing here. So now this edge is still overlapping. That will be cut away. Oh, I will take care of that once it's really dry. But this is on the right track. And now to here, I just wanted to level out the eyes to do one last structural step here with the eyes, and that is here. If you, I don't know, maybe wait, I will take the other camera. I think it might produce a clearer image. I hope so. Here, there's a lower eyelid kind of thing going on. Here, down there in the eye. And this needs to be glued in, or built in on both sides. And that's what I needed, both sides to be roughly the same height. For this to take place now. Yeah, now there's still one problem with the inside of this eye that I need to bring down this piece of cardboard, but I hope I can do it after I got in here with this. Here, best thing here. What could be this? I'm yeah, I don't know where I ah, here I have the other weights, but now I want it to be so here, this kind of lower eyelid kind of thing, like really starts just here. It's not very high here, and then it starts to move up here. So I will just try to show you where I want to put it. It moves up there, and then it goes to half the depth of the interior eyelid, half the depth of the interior upper eyelid. So, somewhere there. Here, there's a hole, in it, which I will have to, or not have to, but which I will fill up with something that I have a good foundation to glue stuff on. This mask is really coming along. I'm like very happy that most of the technical challenges are addressed already. So right now it's just continuing to build and to improve on structures, on proportions. But there's nearly nothing left where I'm like very, very insecure about how I want to approach it. So at least I got an idea for all the things that I think about now. I don't know, or sure, there will be other stuff that comes up, but sometimes in a build, and especially in the beginning, and if you're trying to get into new territory, you will get to know the feeling of being a bit wary about, can I really do it? Am I thinking of most of the problems that I will encounter? And you will encounter problems, but that's actually the great thing about building stuff completely from scratch, that you will have to problem solve all the time, the whole time, all the time. But that's the part that I really like. There are no pre-made parts that you use. So in the end, every structure that you end up using will be something that you came up with. And that, on the other hand, means that you have to be able to understand what kind of structure it is. And that's what I really like about building it from cardboard. After you've built it in cardboard, you probably could build it from nearly every other material. For there's material that is much easier to use for sculpting, but it's just expensive and not nearly as fun. So I try to get this lower eyelid going, and here it's not I still have to avoid everything within the eye that makes it look cute. So, and just right now I had not that my eye ever could look cute, but here I had the lower eyelid coming up in a very steep curve, and that looks just way too cartoonish. So I had to push that back a bit. Yeah. Now I'm like building my first piece that I want to put in here, and then I will use this piece to at least mark down the other pieces. Here, can you see that? Yes, I hope you can. Yeah. So I will use this little piece now to duplicate it for the other parts of the model. Okay, maybe I just use the brush side of this pen. Yeah, I try to put it down left and right, and then I will cut away everything where there's black color. So I'll prepare more than I need, more as I need. And the nice thing is, once I cut them out, I can use it for both sides of the eye. Hopefully, if my build is somewhat symmetrical, for I can just glue them down front side up or front side down. So here, it really doesn't matter if this is perfect here. It's just for a rough shape. And well, have a good night, Mr. Straczynski Felix. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being active in the chat. And I look forward to see you again. Have a very nice evening, or wait, gotta go now. Have a nice day. Have a nice time. Thanks for being there. Looking forward to see you again. Bye bye. Okay, so I will roughly cut them out. So just to recap a bit here, right now I'm in the process of finishing up the relationship, the proportions for the mask part. And doing this, I'm starting from the bigger problems and then moving to the smaller problems. Here, there's still the problem of this one eyebrow being or ending on a higher note as this one. That might be something that I have to address. The snout piece is still a bit crooked. Here, the lower neck part needs to be a bit longer, but I think I will do that at a later time. For this provides me the comfort to be able to stand it down, and that's much easier to work on this way. Yeah, so, and now I'm trying to build up the inner eyelid, which is completely, not completely missing. Here there's like a hint of that, but that's not good enough to really have the whole form like it should be. And it's a real nice thing to have a little ridge here where the eye can, where the light can catch to the edge. The light can get caught on the edge, for it gives the eyes more depth. So one thing that I'm still looking forward to, and where I'm really interested in the outcome, is how I will like approach the actual eyeball here, which is a rounded surface, which is very shiny. And I just want to use cardboard and some paper, like brown paper bags and stuff like that, or packing paper for some tonal difference. But I want to be able to see through it, but it shouldn't appear to be see-through. And so in the I think in the first live stream, I've shown some here, wait, I show again, or here my no, I think the camera's not really picking it up. I will move it to this one. Here, this is a table tennis ball that I drilled holes into, and if you look at it from afar, it starts to get a bit grayish. So, but it the holes are not that obvious then, and I think if I will use smaller holes and more of them, then I should end up with cardboard that I can look to. For actually, I can look through the ball now, but you definitely can't see my eye. So that's like this curtain kind of thing. If you got curtains on your in front of your window, it's hard for people to watch in if they are far away, but you can watch out. So inside out is cool. outside in is not so easy. So you can't see through it the closer you are to it. And yeah, that's what I want to do for the I don't know what you would call it, for the visor parts. Okay, I think I will just I start to lay down single pieces. Now I got 3 for every side. The first one will be completely from left to right, and after that I will not go the whole way. And I will now try to start to get to a better surface here. So I will push this in a bit. To close the small gap. And just to close the small gap that I have down here. So I don't know which camera is the better one for this. So, I suspect that there is more visible from the top, but if not, please inform me. Here, I will glue in the same piece, just a face side down. To the other side. And just start to build up the inner eyelid structure here. Push that into this edge that is there. And here, I'm not really concerned with the real inside of the eye, for I will, once everything is done, I will just cut out the whole thing and then build a single structure for it, or build the eyeballs independently from the rest of the mask. Now I will cut this into smaller pieces, so I can, or this way I can really move into the edge of the eyelid there. Here now, to me the most visual important part is to build up this inside edge here. This is less of a thing. So even though I plan to use this on the other side, I think it's more beneficial on the outer part of the eyelid. Yep. Okay, now it actually, as you can see, I start to enter into parts of the model where the changes that I'm going to make are getting smaller and smaller. For just if I have to do real big changes now, then I just not fucked up, but like wasn't careful enough early on. Yeah, at least structure-wise. There's still like big changes once I cut the whole thing apart. And what will be more or a bigger thing is just to get this top part to look kind of pleasing. So, but you start, or I start very loose with modeling, and then I try to get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter for each pass that I'm taking across the whole model. And the more attention the more attention I paid to the earlier parts of the model, the less changes, or the less broad the changes will be in the later part of the sculpt. But this everything can still change for if the helmet and the structure that I'm gluing in now just won't look good together. I'm completely prepared to cut stuff in half to give it more width, whatever. So before I start to really address surface issues here, I want it to be as good as I can get it. And that's actually why I'm live streaming, for that you can see the whole process. I know this is like not the most interesting thing, maybe, or so, or I don't know. For actually, I like to watch look at people that are modeling something, or not just modeling. There's like Jolly Perdue. There's on YouTube is Making Monsters. And that was a TV series. Like there's all episodes of there that series on there, and that's really great. And he's such a great sculptor. I love to watch that stuff. And he actually has some videos on the side of the Stan Winston School of Visual Arts. And yeah, I love to watch him. And to me, just watching the time lapse makes it much easier to do more difficult projects. For I definitely know it's possible to do it just with the tools that I see that are being used here. And in my streaming here, I try to use as little tools as possible, just to make it easier for people to maybe try stuff like that for themselves. And sure, there is sometimes a better tool helps more. It makes life easier, but just a tool won't make a good sculpt. So it's like with a pencil. There's some people that will just draw incredible stuff with a pencil, and other people that can't. And that's the same thing with sculpting. So just some tools make it more efficient. So, but if you struggle with the basic structure, no tool will help you. For you have to build a structure that's that can support your whole thing. you have to make sure that you got the right proportions and everything, or the whole build will fail. So all I want to say is it's not really about the tools, but I know when I watch some stuff and people are just using every kind of power tool available in the world, that I'm like discouraged to actually try to do stuff like that myself. So I don't want to discourage anyone here. Actually, quite the opposite. I want to show what you can do with a minimal amount of tools, but even though this needs a minimum amount of tools, you still have to invest like time and space, and you have to invest with your wanting it. So, and I think that's an invest too. So, because you can only want so much at a time, and if you want to learn something, and that's like really the top want thing there, then the other stuff goes to the background or moves into the background, and you can more easily focus on that. Yeah, that was not the greatest explanation for that, but very, very oops. This not perfect yet, but it definitely helped the eyes to get more separation from this cheek thing here. So now we just have to bring him in a bit here. So there will be another cardboard thing closing that off. Nice, nice. Here, there's just a little thing that I want to fill up before I move on. Yep. And once again, I do this just to have a better structure for each coming pass. This is working out quite well. So, and this will be inserted there. Very, very good. So the always is so. The main structure is better. Okay, there's still this side. Here, or just what I have to fix here. On this side, the cheekbone like moves in really, really, really steep, and on this side it's just more moderate when it comes to the angle here. When I put this on there and on here, I think you might see the difference. I just reverse the view here from this side to this side. So I think I have to put in some cardboard here. Well, there I want to have kind of thick cardboard. Let me take a look. It's not too thick, but this is very sculptable cardboard. And this will just fill up this hole that is there. So I just try to close in on the shape. It does not need to be at the front. I just want to start to fill up this thing. From the ground up. And these pipes on the side of the helmet, they are just placeholder geometry, if you know what I mean. There will be like real sculpted tubes, but it's really important to have this features present while you try to determine if your dimensions are good. Okay, here's another problem that I haven't really taken care of before. If you see this from here, then this side here, this is more to the front, this is put a bit to the back. So I think I just need to add a little bit of volume here to get this to the same level as the other side. Here, always take your when you're sculpting something, tumble it in front of your head, get a bit of distance to the whole sculpting thing, and yeah, try to be honest. If you really think you're going into the right direction, or if you are just tired of it taking so long. And that is something you will run into. Or at least I ran into that quite a lot of times. For it was like, oh, will this ever end? But once you think about, or for me, when I think about what the whole thing will look like, and that I will be able to touch it and look at it and yeah, just have it being there, that then like keeps me or helps me to not focus on the right now, which might be very painful for when you know, okay, now you did something, Terminator arm, so I finished one half of one finger, and then I knew that the exact same thing, just with a bit of different dimensions, has to be done like 400 times now. And once you focus on that number, it is hard to get your mind away from that. So just look at the one finger that's done and just marvel in what is possible, and think about how cool it will be to have it all together. And maybe think about, here, can I be more efficient here or there? Or maybe I can build myself a good template that I speed things up. And maybe listen to podcasts or maybe to some stuff like this. Just do your projects while you see someone else do something too. And that makes it a lot easier, at least for me. And here, when I'm not live streaming, I'm listening to podcasts or listening to news. Sometimes I listen to audiobooks and just stuff like that. And if what I'm doing is really boring, then sometimes just the content of what I'm watching or listening or whatever will keep me working. There's actually where audiobooks are really great for if you want to know how the book continues. That's a great point to come back to your modeling or stay on your model for a bit longer. If you know what I mean. The chat is not really died, but it's dead. But I can understand that. The broad changes are not really happening right now. And I am approaching this 3-hour mark. Which means... which says that I will take a break then for, I don't know, 30 minutes, 60 minutes. This I need to eat something. It's in the night now, so midnight has passed, but I still want to do a bit more today for this build. I want to see it completed. Okay, this was the wrong side, but that doesn't really matter. Therefore, I just need to up the volume in this part here. So, and with me looking at just maybe another 10 minutes, I will now try to glue something down that definitely needs to dry a bit longer. So I can take advantage of the time that the glue has. So, and here just on this side, I want to build up this structure here a bit more. And I will just drop in some rough pieces here, and then let me see that from the front. Yep. And glue this over everything else. So if whoever's watching, whoever's listening, if you like to see me continue working on this or other stuff, subscribe to the channel maybe. And the most important thing would be, if you want to be notified on new videos, or if I'm about to go live to stream or stuff like that, click the bell icon, and then YouTube will provide you with that kind of information, hopefully. Oh, no, it will provide you. I'm being notified if stuff that I want to be informed about is going to take place. Can you, like, what? This, now this helps this side to look better. This is really a move in the right direction. I will cover this with some stuff underneath, and for this will be just a structure that does not need any wood glue to it. I can just fill it up with some stuff that I hot glue in there. For the wood glue will not stick to the hot glue, so it's good practice to keep the surfaces separated. And at least when it comes to me, I use hot glue for some structural stuff, but all stuff that is just a bit more detailed will get the wood glue treatment. Yeah, there I have way more control over a surface that I glued in with this, for I can still sculpt it, and I still, yeah, I can easily affect the surface for a longer period of time, and it can help me to really curve cardboard, to like really push it into edges. And once it dries off, it leaves a very clean seam. And with cardboard, no matter how much I try to protect the surface, I always end up with a very with some kind of residue, with some remains on the model that I didn't want there. So I try to stop the use of hot glue as soon as I can when I build something. But it's great to do structural work. So, and for something like this here, it is extremely important to have a good foundation. For I'm always pressing stuff down and try to mold or sculpt some edges and stuff like that. And there a very sound structure really helps. And this kind of structure is easily obtained with using hot glue. But a lot of models that I've done were just done with wood glue. For I don't always need to have a very strong foundation. So this is just, first it's kind of big as a model, then it needs to be strong enough that I can cut it in different parts. One part needs to be able to be the foundation for the next one. And the surfaces are extremely curved in this build, which directly leads into that I have to apply a lot of force when I'm drying them, and when I try to apply one piece to the next. Here I'm just, there's a gap between this one piece of cardboard and the next, and so I will just fill that with something. And for this will take a bit. I can use a bit more glue than I normally would. Okay, this is the end of part 1 of day 6. Here I will okay, today I got here, the helmet got a much better shape now. So it starts to come together. The helmet still needs to be corrected in that it's too short on this side. But it will like be made to start here and then elongated that this is like the width of it then, and that this width compares to this width. No, that's what will happen with the helmet. Here the nose piece will be brought in a bit. The curvature is nearly done, so I can start to polish it down a bit. Here's a bit of work on the inside piece here. Little bit everywhere. I think that the rough structure will be finished, or that I will continue to build the rough structure, and hopefully we'll get to a nice point, maybe even to a point where I can start to work on the finer details of this mask in this second part, or whenever. Yeah, maybe you will turn in when I come back online. I hope so. Have a nice time. I am off and I will eat some food and try to regain some concentration. Bye bye. I am out and I stop the stream now. Bye.